south of Brazil, and it's called Caminho do Meio.
Não sei se a Venerável gostaria de dizer algumas palavras.
Would you like to say some words, Venerável? Like to tell us something?
Tá aqui. O Venerável Jinjin também tá aqui.
Venerável Jinjin is with us. We are going to have him as a co-host.
E acho que dá para colocar no Spotlight também.
We are going to ask you to put him in Spotlight also.
I don't know what you're saying.
Sorry?
I don't know what you're saying.
Oh.
Wow.
There's no translation, but can you hear me now?
No, I was...
Okay, sorry. I thought there was a simultaneous translation, so I just wanted to... Okay, welcome, Venerable, and thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's early morning for you. We're very happy to have you with us. What I was saying before, I was introducing Lama Padma Samten. I was saying that he's a Tibetan Lama in the Tibetan tradition, but he used to practice Soto Zen before. And we also wanted to thank you, Venerable Henchi, and the entire BTTS team for all the support that we had during these years for the translation of the Surangama Sutra.
Recording in progress.
Eu vou mudar para o português agora, porque já tem tradução acontecendo.
For the Portuguese now.
Sons celestiais que o Buda falava, vocês viram?
These are the sound of the...
Venerable, maybe if you join the English channel on Zoom, you will be able to hear the simultaneous translation. I'm not sure. There should be an interpretation button, a round globe. And then if you select English, you will be able to hear the English translation. But if you can't find it, it's okay. I can speak both in English and Portuguese. That's fine.
I want to find it. I don't know how to find it.
No problem. No problem. Okay. Is Venerable Jinjin with us here in the room? If you are, can you please open your camera so that we can spotlight you? And also Vera.
There's someone helping me.
Oh, okay.
Let me try. Can you listen to me, Venerable? Here is Chris. Can you listen to me?
So we are in the simultaneous translation channel. Could everyone hear?
Can you listen to me?
Channel now?
Okay, so when I talk, it's getting translated simultaneously, yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
But Venerable, can you listen to me? I'm Chris Hoverson. I'm translating the Portuguese to English. Can you listen to me?
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear the translator.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to say again. Can you listen to me? I'm Chris Hoverson, the translation.
Não sei se a Vera, I'm not sure if Vera is here too. Então, a gente também vai receber aqui com a gente a Vera Cristofani.
We are going to have here Vera, the Brazilian revisors that also check it and support us with the translation. And she is going to be here
Ela não está
at any
A
moment.
Vera acabou de entrar.
Can
Vera
you,
is just Venerable, can you listen to my translation?
Yes, I can hear your translation.
Okay, thank you very much.
A Vera, pode, por favor, abrir a câmera?
Vera, would you please open your camera so we can see you?
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes?
Sim, estamos vendo.
Hello, everybody. I was asked to do two things. One of them was to talk about the Shurangama, and the other one was to talk about Buddhist Text Translation Society. And I thought maybe the best way is I will read this short introduction to the Shurangama Sutra that the Venerable Master wrote, and your translator can translate it into your language. Is that okay? Within Buddhism, there are many important sutras. However, the most important sutra is the Shurangama Sutra, because as long as it abides in the world, the proper Dharma is sustained. If or when the Shurangama Sutra disappears from the world, then the Dharma ending age appears. Therefore, all of us Buddhist disciples must use our blood, sweat, and tears to protect the Shurangama Sutra. Master Hua continues, the Sutra of the Ultimate Extinction of the Dharma clearly states that in the Dharma ending age, the Shurangama Sutra will be the first to disappear, and following that, the rest of the sutras will disappear. While the Shurangama Sutra is in the world, the proper Dharma age abides. Because of that, we Buddhist disciples must dedicate our lives to protecting the Shurangama Sutra, make vows to always protect the Shurangama Sutra, cause the Shurangama Sutra to be known as far and wide as we possibly can. While the Shurangama Sutra remains in the world, proper Dharma radiates brilliant light. So this is Master Hua telling us about the Shurangama. Why would anyone want to destroy the Shurangama Sutra? Because it's too true. The Shurangama Sutra is the Buddha's true body, the Buddha's genuine sharira, the Buddha's legitimate stupa. Therefore, because the Shurangama Sutra is so true, all the demon kings devise all sorts of methods to try and destroy the Shurangama Sutra. Master Hua continues, they spread rumors saying that the Shurangama Sutra is spurious. They do that because of the truths the Shurangama Sutra expresses, especially in the sections on the 4 aspects of purity, the 25 sages' awakenings, and the states of the 50 skandha demons. So these are 3 sections in the sutra. The principles set forth in the Shurangama Sutra totally expose monsters, demons, ghosts, and weirdos that inhabit various sects and cults. They cannot hide who they are. Unfortunately, many scholars lack awareness of this based on scant or partial understanding. They're confused and unclear and lack true and actual wisdom. That's why they criticize the Shurangama Sutra. We who study the Buddha Dharma should be deeply aware of these circumstances. Therefore, wherever we go, we should advocate the Shurangama Sutra, propagate the Shurangama Sutra, introduce the Shurangama Sutra to people. We should do that so the proper Dharma can long abide in the world. To verify this truth, and this is Master Hua speaking, let me say that if the Shurangama Sutra were phony, then I would willingly fall into the hells forever. To verify its truth, I vow in life after life to propagate the Shurangama Sutra at all times and in all places. How could the great principles in the Shurangama Sutra not have been spoken by the Buddha? How could anyone else have had the wisdom to speak the Shurangama Sutra? I hope that anyone who makes the senseless accusation that the Shurangama Sutra is spurious will quickly wake up and stop creating causes for suffering in the hell of pulling out tongues. All scholars and all students of Buddhism of every nationality should quickly mend their ways, admit their mistakes, and manage to change. There is no greater good than that. I will close by verifying, and again, this is Master Hua, I will close by verifying that all who read the Shurangama Sutra, all who listen to the Shurangama Sutra, all who investigate the Shurangama Sutra will very quickly accomplish Buddhahood. So that's the Master's affirmation of the Sutra.
Muito obrigada, Venerável Renchi, pela apresentação.
Thank you very much, Venerable Rishi. I would like to welcome Vera, that is someone who's here with us, and the Venerable Jing that's also with us. I'd like to ask Vera for a small presentation, brief one.
Acho que seu microfone está fechado.
Can you open your microphone?
Fazer a apresentação da mestra.
After this presentation of the master, can you listen fine?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great honor to introduce Dharma Master Rinchi, a remarkable figure in Western Buddhism and a dedicated disciple of Venerable Master Xuanhua. The introduction will be in English and in Portuguese. Dharma Master Rinchi first encountered Venerable Master Xuanhua in the 60s during a 9-day Shurangama summer study and cultivation session. Deeply inspired by his teachings, she made the important decision to enter monastic life, becoming one of the first Americans ordained by Venerable Master Xuanhua in 1968. Since then, she has devoted her life to the practice, study, and propagation of the Dharma. With over half a century's experience as a committed American nun and a teacher, Dharma Master Rinchi has played an instrumental role in training many others in the monastic way of life. She's a founding member and currently serves as Vice President of the Buddhist Text Translation Society, BTTS. Since its establishment in the 1970s, she has contributed extensively as a translator, reviewer, editor, and certifier, ensuring the accurate, and meaningful transmission of Venerable Master Xuanhua teachings to the world. In addition to her translation work, Dharma Master Rinchi also holds a PhD in translation from Dharma Realm Buddhist University, where she now serves as Professor Emerita. She has also lectured internationally, including serving as adjunct assistant professor at Bond University in Australia, where she taught Buddhist philosophy. Today's event marks the launch of the Portuguese translation of the Shurangama Sutra, one of the most important scriptures in Mahayana Buddhism. Dharma Master Rinchi will share her invaluable insights into the significance of the sutra, discuss Venerable Master Xuanhua's unique approach to its teaching, and offer a glimpse into the translation process at BTTS.
Okay, so of those three, I have given you some insight into the sutra by reading you the master's affirmation of the Shurangama. Not only did the master say that if the Shurangama Sutra was not authentic, that he was willing to fall into the hells, Master Xu Yun, his teacher, also said the same thing. So two sages of our modern age verify that the Shurangama Sutra is indeed spoken by the Buddha. Do you have any questions about what I've said so far? I like questions.
Muito obrigada, Venerável Rinchi. Eu acho que esse é um bom momento para a gente passar a palavra para o
This is a very nice moment to ask Lama Samten. Maybe he has some comments.
É uma grande felicidade,
For
uma
us,
honra muito grande.
it's honor
Nós
to
estamos hoje como
to
uma
be
única
here
sangha
as a
integrada
unit
aqui no
Sangha
Brasil, uma
integrated
sangha
in
do
Brazil,
BTTS.
and
Para
with
nós
the
é realmente um
BTTS
milagre.
Sangha, this is like a
Nós
miracle
temos
for
estudado
us.
há muito tempo
We
diferentes
have been
traduções do
studying
Surangama,
from different
iniciando com a tradução do
translation of a
Quarto Lugar, do
Suragama,
Vaital,
and
que foi
starting
publicado
from
pela
the
Buddhist
Gita,
Bible
which was
muitos
in the
anos
Buddhist
atrás.
Bible some years ago.
Agora a gente teve
And
essa
now we
bênção
had this
de poder
bless
acessar
to
a
assess
sabedoria do Mestre Xuanhua,
the
que nos
wisdom of
brindou com
Master
essa
Shawa
tradução, ou seja, com esse
that
ensinamento
gives
vivo
with this
na
teaching,
forma do
this live
Surangama,
teaching
que
in
a
the
gente
Suragama,
está, enfim,
and we
acessando.
are assessing
E
it.
agradecer muito a sangha do
We'd like
BTTS
to
pelo
thank you
cuidado que a
very
gente
much
pôde
from the
ver,
BTTS
né,
Sangha with all the care
visão
and the
de
vision
consagrado,
of
ver
consagrate
esse cuidado
and
e
all the
como é
care
realmente muito
and
importante
taking care of all
esse
this that's
conjunto
and
de
how it is very
ensinamentos, né?
important.
Nós
This
ficamos
group
muito
of
felizes de
teachings.
poder não só
We
acessar
are very
o
happy
Sutra na
to
tradução
assess
do
the
Mestre
Sutra, this
Xuanhua,
translation
mas
of
também
Shanghua,
acessar os
but
ensinamentos, especialmente
also
acessar
the
os ensinamentos e
special
comentários
teachings and
quase
comments
parágrafo por parágrafo
and
do
paragraph
Mestre, né?
by paragraph
E
from
nós
the
vemos
Master.
que isso
And we
enriqueceu
see and we
e
feel that
clarificou o
this
Sutra,
enriched
e nós
the
sentimos
Sutra and
também
clarified
as
the
palavras
Sutra.
do Mestre Xuanhua,
And we can see in the words of Master
a
Shawa
presença
the
contínua dos
presence
mestres da China,
and
os
all
professores
the
da cadeia de
tradition of the
professores que culmina
Chinese
no Mestre Xuanhua,
teachers that
trazendo esse
comes from
texto
the
para nós.
Master
E
Shawa
quando nós
bring the
ouvimos as
text to
palavras
us.
deles,
So when we
deles,
listen
nós
their
sentimos
words,
essa
we
presença, essa
feel this
experiência de
presence
gerações
and
e
the
gerações de
experience of
praticantes
generation
que
and
debruçaram sobre
generation
esses
of
ensinamentos
practitioners
e
that
mantiveram os
have
ensinamentos vivos.
devoted to these
Então a gente se
teachings
sente
and keep them
assim,
alive.
inundado de bênçãos
So we
nessa
feel
conexão.
many
Isso
of
culmina hoje com a
blessing,
presença de vocês.
and this
Então,
is
uma aparência muito
culminating
viva
with your
entre
presence of
todos os
you all
praticantes
today
que
and with all
vivenciam
our
essa
practitioners
continuidade desses
that can
ensinamentos
bring all
vivos.
this continuity of these
Eu
teachings
vou
that
fazer
are
uma
alive.
pergunta, eu não sei o
I'm
quanto
going
vocês
to
vão
ask a
poder
question.
nos ajudar
I'm not
nisso,
sure
né?
if you all
Mas
can
para
assist
nós é mais
us with
fácil
this.
nós darmos
To
o
us,
sentido aos
it's
vários
easier
ensinamentos
if you
em si, às
give a
palavras dos mestres e
sense
às palavras do
of the
Sutra mesmo.
teachings and the masters
E eu
and the
queria que,
sutra.
por favor, a mestra pudesse falar pouco
I'd
sobre o
like
próprio
to
mantra.
ask from the from the Venerable Master about the mantra of Surangana, the one that comes from the Buddha in the top of the head, and from this comes all the Vajra vision to 10 directions and bring the word clear. And this culmination of the sutra, because it's the culmination of the vision, I would like to listen how the group of this master can use this mantra. How do you all practice? And could you introduce us to this practice?
So, Jinjing Sure, is the question about the Shurangama mantra or the sutra?
Shurangama mantra. How do we practice the Shurangama mantra?
Shurangama mantra is 554 lines long. Are you all familiar with it? Yes?
Yes.
I don't see heads nodding.
Sim, isso está publicado.
Yes, we had this published, I saw, and the previous version I had already accessed the mantra, but it doesn't come complete, just one part. And this part, it is there is a lot of impact. So we can access it and we have the sound of the mantra from the sound tool.
Jinjing?
Did you say that you get only one part of the mantra, but not the rest? We couldn't hear clearly in the translation.
Yeah, are you asking for specific parts of the
Maybe, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
If the question and
Okay.
answer could be sequential, it will be helpful.
Yes. So I think I can translate Lama's question. So we have been studying the Shurangama Sutra for many years with Lama, and we have the mantra in our publication, of course. And many people from the Sangha, they have been asking, how do we practice this mantra? Since it's a very long mantra. So Lama's question was, how do you, as a Sangha, how do you practice? And if you could speak a little bit about this mantra and the importance and the relevance and how to practice it in our daily life.
In the beginning, the master had us just recite the first part up to Namo Yintolaya. And so when we first started to come close to the mantra, that's all we recited, up to Namo Yintolaya. And he'd had us do that 108 times in the evening after the sutra lecture before we went home. And he explained that was a protection for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lama?
Sim.
There are also many other important sections. I don't know if the Lama has taught you particular sections or if you use particular sections.
Eu gostaria de ouvi-la sobre isso, né?
I would like to listen you about this.
Can you hear the translation?
Not at the moment.
Can you?
Okay.
Can you listen?
Lama said he'd like to hear if you have any specific suggestion about this. How to...
There are several small sections in the Shurangama mantra that function in different ways. Usually those are transmitted. So for instance, your Lama would transmit to you, our teacher would transmit to us. And our teacher's been gone for over 20 years. So if the mantra is to continue, then some of us are going to have to assume the responsibility of sharing things about the mantra that the master only shared, but isn't here to share anymore. That said, it's very hard for any of us to feel qualified.
Thank you so much, Venerable. We have received the recording of Master Xuan Hua's recitation of the mantra, which will be very useful for our Sangha to do the practice from now on.
Yes.
Talvez o Lama...
It has a mistake in it.
Oh, it has a mistake in it?
I'm sure the Lama will appreciate that.
Okay.
A deliberate mistake.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
I guess so that no one would be able to misuse it. In the master's voice, he put one mistake in there. Do you know the Five Hearts mantra?
The Five Hearts mantra? No, maybe not. I don't know if Lama knows.
Jinjing Sure is the Five Hearts mantra in the Shurangama mantra?
Yes, 5 lines.
And what lines are those?
Those are
104 to 108. If you look at 104 to 108, now what I'm giving you, I don't really have the authority to give, but in our friendship and our shared reverence for the Shurangama mantra, I'll tell you about them. Shurdaniyo Jalamini Tsuboni Dalaya Ningjali. So if you look at 104 to 108, Shurdaniyo Jalamini Tsuboni Dalaya Ningjali. That's a mantra the master taught us to use before we eat, before we drink, whenever we're traveling, if we're in a dangerous situation or an unfamiliar situation where we're feeling that we need support, we use those lines. 104 to 108, through 108. Churtoni, Ojala, Mili Ju, Boni Danlaya, Ningjali. So all of them are 3 syllables except the 4th one. It's 5 syllables. So, say it for me 3 times together. Let's hear it. Turn on unmute your mics and say it for me.
Let me try to share the mantra with everybody here. No.
Maybe we could put the mantra on the screen for people to see, and then they can repeat 3 times
1
together.
minute. I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll share my screen now. Can everybody see? Tá todo mundo vendo a minha tela? Sim? Sim,
Yes.
a minha tela está visível. Então, pessoal, elas estão nos convidando para a gente recitar essas 5 linhas do mantra todos juntos. Então, no templo, não sei se o pessoal do templo está conseguindo ver, mas se vocês puderem... Tá, então a gente vai recitar todo mundo junto.
Okay. I'm going to tell you more. This one is very important. Just these 5 sets of syllables. What follows? Salapo pantono mozani salapo tushaja tushipa bononi falani. So you want to add everything down through falani. So this is one set, the most important set.
Should we do the recitation now?
Sure, let's do it. Let's do it first and then add more.
Ok, então todo mundo, a gente vai fazer a recitação agora. Eu vou começar, mas aí todo mundo pode abrir o microfone aí no Zoom também, tá? Ela tá convidando. Shituoni.
Adita.
Aja. Milizu.
Olidandalaye. Ninjeli.
I think it was done. A little bit too many screens, but yeah.
Before you eat, before you drink, before you travel or while you're traveling, anytime you feel in danger, use it. You can say it 3 times, 7 times, 21 times, 108 times. Use it. And the more you use it, the more efficacious it becomes. Now you want to add the next syllables down through falani. There's 2 more things to teach there. I'm not qualified to do this. I hope I have the Lama's sanction to do this. Okay, Bo Nani, get rid of the L. There's no L. Okay. Salapo tushaja tushija.
Ampana mojani salapo tusesha tusifa bonani falani.
Okay. Tushaja and tushifa. let's go. Let's go to Bonani, Falani, the last 6 syllables. This is what's called the wisdom mantra. Just 6 syllables. Bonani, Falani. And Tu Shaja and Tu Shifa take care of bad dreams. They help you deal with bad dreams or keep you from having bad dreams. Tu Shaja, Tu Shifa. I can't give you particulars on Salapo Pantono Motani, but the master taught this set of 6 syllables together, and then Bonani Falani as 6 syllables together. This is a set of 6. Salapo Pantono Motani Salapo Tusada Tushifa. That's a set of 6. And then Bonani Falani are 6 syllables in the end. So altogether, if you slide up, can we see all of it? Maybe you have to make it smaller so we can, So after Ningjali, Salapo follows after Ningjali. So we have this first 5 syllables are the important ones. And then this set of syllables, Master taught as a set by itself, and he taught us that these Tu Shaja Tu Shiva take care of bad dreams, and then Bonani Falani are for wisdom. I'm telling you what probably nobody knows. Very few people probably know that, so I'm really giving you a gift tonight.
Thank you so much, Venerable. Thank you so much. Muito obrigada.
Thank me. It's our master, and you're your master allowing me to talk.
Thank you. Lama, tu teria mais gostaria de fazer mais alguma
Lama,
pergunta?
Would you like to ask other questions?
Lama, me ouve?
Lama, can you hear me?
I have some slides on the Buddhist Text Translation Society, but I thought I'd see if you want to ask any more questions about the Sharanama mantra that maybe I can answer. Maybe Jinjing sure can answer.
Well, not me, for sure.
Eu perguntaria.
Would you like to ask?
Eu perguntaria para
I'd like to ask for the master.
Quais foram as palavras mais importantes, assim, se o mestre Xuanhua
the most important words? If a master had the chance to say goodbye to Sangha, what he mentioned the last part of his life.
Say it again, please.
So maybe can you hear me, Venerable?
Yes.
I can hear
So
you.
Lama is asking, now it's a more general question, is about Master Xuanhua. When he was approaching the end of his life, what are some of the important teachings or the important things that he shared with the Sangha, the most important words that he shared when he was approaching the end of his life?
Especialmente quando ele estava na parte final da vida dele, quando ele estava se
when he
aproximando do
was
final da vida.
approaching to the end of his life.
At the end of his life, at the very end of his life, different people came to his bedside, and he spoke particularly for each person. So I don't know what those things were,
É isso que a gente quer saber.
That's what we would like to know.
Of all the things that the master taught, the one that I find to be most important is ahimsa, no harm. Taught us not to harm each other, not to harm our environment, and not to harm ourselves. And those things aren't easy. It's not easy to interact with other people and not hurt them because we're not sensitive enough to realize what's going to hurt someone. And it's even harder to forgive ourselves to be practicing non-harm in terms of ourselves, because we tend to judge ourselves harshly. And the hardest, of course, is the environment, because we don't have control over it. Only a small portion of it where we might happen to be or where our influence might spread. But in terms of the world, he saw that as absolutely vital, that each of us in our own sphere try to protect our environment, protect the people around us, and protect ourselves. So I would say ahimsa, to me, was his message.
Maravilha.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Venerable. So maybe now we can proceed to your presentation about BTTS. And then at the end, maybe if we have time, we can open for 1 or 2 questions from the audience.
Okay.
I will speak in Portuguese very briefly. Eu não sei. Só para a sugestão, então, é que agora a Venerável vai fazer uma apresentação sobre a BTTS e depois a gente vai abrir para 1 ou 2 perguntas, talvez, da plateia.
The Buddhist Text Translation Society uses 8 guidelines, so I'll go over those. Here are the 8 guidelines. We all follow these guidelines. We are very aware of them. Sometimes we even recite them before we start our work. Translators and volunteers must free themselves from motives of personal fame and reputation. So the first one says, you don't try to get famous by translating. You don't use your translations to try to make you famous. The second one is to cultivate an attitude free of arrogance and conceit. So we need to show pride in our work, but we should not be arrogant or conceited about it. We want to be proud of what we do, but we don't want to make what we do something that we sell in order to sell ourselves. So we don't want to be arrogant or conceited. Next one is that we don't aggrandize ourselves and denigrate others. Meaning is, we don't speak highly of our translations and speak badly of others or of the translators themselves. We don't say, I'm a better translator than you are. Or we don't say, your translations are not good. So in doing our translations, we don't do that. The next one is, we don't set a standard that we say is the only right way to do something. And if other people's translations don't adhere to that, then we say those translations have problems. So we don't establish ourselves as the standard of correctness and suppress the work of others. We don't do that. If we do that, we're not being a BTTS translator. Next one is we have to take the Buddha mind as our mind. That's a difficult one because, of course, we're not Buddhists yet. But we have to assume we can be Buddhas right where we are now and assume that our mind is awakened, even though we may not be aware of that awakening. So we have to take the Buddha mind as our own mind. The next one is we have to use the selective Dharma I. Just I-N. So we need to understand the Dharma, and then we have to discern what is Dharma, what is proper Dharma, what is true, and also be able to discern what isn't Dharma, what may try to pass as Dharma but isn't really Dharma. We need to do that. That's the sixth one. The seventh one is we need to ask elders, virtuous ones, like your Lama, like our master, to certify our translations, to verify them. We don't just translate and say, I did a good job. We submit our translations to virtuous elders and ask them to verify that what we have said in our translation is accurate. And then the eighth thing we do is to try to make sure that certified translations get published. Now, these days, it isn't always books. These days, it could be digital publication. It could be a presence digitally so that people who want to read the sutra can find it online somewhere. It isn't always going to be in books. It also can just be in speech. Here it says to print them, number 8. But these days, since paper books are not really in vogue, we can also say that we propagate the teaching through any kind of verbal means. And we do that for the sutras, which are the texts spoken by the Buddha, the shastras, which are commentaries spoken by masters, and the Vinaya texts, which are the precepts that the monastics and the lay people hold. Finally, the master points out that translators have to be magnanimous in spirit. They have to be open-minded, willing to accept what may not be their preference, and make sure that it receives the same expertise as the things they prefer. We have to be broad-minded, and we have to have integrity. We have to be true to ourselves and also true to the work that we do. So those are the guidelines for the Buddhist Text Translation Society. If you'd like to ask questions, I'd be happy to.
Thank you so much, Venerable, for sharing these guidelines with so much detail. It's also going to be very useful for us, for our translation team, because there are so many things that it's actually our aspiration, but having them so clearly specified and written, it's amazing, and it's very good to know, to see Dharma work being translated with so much seriousness and so much care. So thank you so much. Não sei se está acontecendo a tradução, como é que está, mas eu agradeci a Venerável por compartilhar, né, as instruções para o grupo de tradução. E eu acho que a gente pode agora usar esse espaço.
That we can use these minutes.
Perguntas talvez vindo do
Or some
templo.
questions.
Se tiver pergunta no Zoom, vocês podem levantar a mão.
If someone here in Zoom has some questions, more people in the temple.
So, I'm inviting people to ask questions if they have. So people on Zoom and also in the temple, there are some people there.
Online, there's a question: which mantra is being practiced in Tibet that has the same effect as the Sharanama mantra? As far as I know, the Tibetan tradition also uses the Sharanama mantra. Am I wrong? I believe I'm right.
There are some Tibetan teachers that have been teaching the Shurangama Sutra and probably practicing the mantra, maybe the Sangha.
And I'm not from the Tibetan tradition, so of course I can't answer what other mantras they might have. I mean, Om Mani Padme Hum, of course, is shared by us all, but I'm sure there may be other mantras that I don't know of. It says, whoever's writing this, Marlene Lee, she's saying that it's not practiced in Tibet, but I believe it is. I believe you need to check more because I believe it is. If it isn't, it should be. You can introduce it.
Thank you, Venerable. There is a question in the temple, so they will open the mic and we will hear.
I probably won't be able to hear. Jing, maybe you can help me. I'm a bit hard of hearing.
Okay, here you help you, Jing.
Yeah, and if Caroline can help translate that into English, it'll be helpful.
I can translate that, yes.
Great.
Muito obrigado pela oportunidade. E eu queria saber sobre uma coisa que eu tenho comentado aqui.
Lama, Padma, Samten. I would like to understand what I have been commented to Lama Samten. I would like to understand the practice. There is a specific note in the comment,
uma expressão que está na nota 43.
An expression in the note, translation note 43.
É sobre o estado.
It is the state.
O ganho de paciência com o estado onde não surgem objetos mentais.
The patience where there is no mental state. Can you comment something about this? Is there a practice?
E no chinês está Wushan Fu Ren.
He pronounced it in this Chinese.
He's first thanking you, Venerable and Jingjing, for being here. And his question has to do, so there is a footnote in the translation of BTTS of the Shurangama Sutra in which Master Xuanhua, he talks about a practice. I don't, we have the words in Portuguese. I don't remember exactly the words in English, but it was a practice about gaining patience with the mind state where no objects arise or something like that. So if you could maybe share a few words about this practice.
Oh, we'll let your teacher share them, because that's a state that I aspire to, certainly, but couldn't possibly say much about. Can your teacher tell you about it?
Lama, você gostaria de, would you like to share a few words, or would you like to ask the Venerable to?
Eu vou dar a transmissão silenciosa desse estado.
I will give the silence transmission from this
He said
state.
he will share the silent transmission of this state.
It's something like Jingjing, share the translation. Wu Shang Faran. Patience with, okay. There's two ways I translate it in English. One way is patience with beings and dharmas. Beings meaning people, or sentient beings, cows, horses, birds. Patience with beings and patience with dharma. Dharma meaning everything else, not just the teachings, capital D, but all dharmas. Everything is a dharma. But there are sentient beings, and then there are insentient dharmas. And so I often think of it that way. It's also translated patience with the non-arising of dharmas, where wu sheng is a verb, not a noun. I think both are to be considered. Using it both as a noun and as a verb when you think about patience. Have I said enough?
I think you have said beautifully, more than enough. Thank you so much, Venerable. Are there other questions in the temple, or maybe from the participants on Zoom?
I'll say just a minute. I'll say a bit more about the patience part. Patience means you endure it, but it's basically unendurable. And so the patience becomes repetitive. You're patient once, and it doesn't work. So then you're patient again, and again, and again. So part of patience is being patient with patience, being willing to let the patience expand, and being willing to, once you fall down, get back up. Now, there was a question.
Thank you. There is another person in the temple with a question. If you still have a few more minutes. O templo está mutado.
Pode falar? Estão ouvindo? Obrigada. Eu queria saber como que eles veem a linguagem artística como forma de transmissão do sutra.
Artistic language as a transmission of the sutra,
ou
like
músicas
theater or music for mantra. Does it make sense or is out of place?
She's asking, how do you see the artistic language as a means to convey the teaching of the sutra, for example, through a play or through making a music out of the mantra? Do you think that would be appropriate or maybe something that should not be done?
I believe it's appropriate. I do know that the master didn't like cartoons of the sutra, because we had when we had the first Lama session, there was one young woman who drew cartoons of portions of the sutra, and the master didn't like that. But in terms of music and plays and have a parade, you can do a lot of things to propagate a sutra. And it's necessary in this day and age when a lot of people don't read. You have to find ways that are graphic or in media that are accepted and interesting to people today. So yes, do a musical, a dance.
Thank you so much, Venerable. Do we have more questions? Será que a gente tem mais perguntas no tempo?
Maybe do we have more questions?
There is a question from a
There is
participant
a
in Zoom. So you can
participant in Zoom. Sarah, please.
Dá para desmutar ela.
Hello.
Hello, Venerable. Hello. My question is more about the translation path, because I've been working with the translations with Seb, but also with another sanghas, and then I am starting this path in the last, weeks or months maybe. And one thing that I really think that's so hard is translate with maybe different words, because when you switch languages, you also switch words, and then there are sometimes that you have a word that has the same meaning but doesn't exist really in that language, and then sometimes it's really hard, the responsibility to translate very well a master and put everything that maybe they want to put there in that sentence, in that word, the same meaning. And I've been doing this, and I will start actually to do this more also with simultaneous translation, which makes me really nervous sometimes, because I really want to do it, really do it well. And my question is, do you have any tip for these translators, like me, for example, at practice, maybe before doing it, or maybe when it's happening, if you have some tip? Thank you.
I think it can't always be literal. It has to work in the language, the target language, the language you're putting it in. From the source language, as a translator, you have to grasp what the essence is in the source language, and then take that essence over into the target language, and it may not be literal. You may need a different construction of sentences You may need words that aren't exactly translations of the original in order to get it understood culturally, and in terms of our times. So when you're doing it simultaneously, you've got to, you have to kind of filter it that way. Yeah. And I think that's more fair to the listener than to just keep rattling off a word for word translation for whatever the person is saying. I think even if in simultaneous translation things go by so fast that you miss some, I think it's better that you try to grasp little clusters of meaning that would be meaningful in your culture, in your language, and make sure they get those.
Is there a prayer or some sort of aid that we can add before we start a translation work, or even verbal translation interpretation? Did Venerable Master give us any instructions?
The five hearts. The five hearts mantra. Chirtanil Jali means Siboni Dana Yaning Jali.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No more questions? No more questions. I can go home.
I think so. I think you can go home now. Thank you so much, Venerable, for being with us one more time. And again, thank you so much to all of the BTTS team who supported us throughout all these years with the translation process of the Shurangama Sutra, and who also made it possible for the sutra to be now available in Portuguese. Our Sangha and all of us, we are very happy and we rejoice that it has happened. And we're also very happy also to have this first one-on-one contact with the team. Would you like to do a dedication prayer, Venerable?
May the merit from this practice adorn all the Buddha's lands, repay the kindness from above, and rescue those in paths below. May all who see or hear of this resolve upon awakening, and when this body meets its end, be born together in the land of bliss. Amidofo.
Thank you. Thank you, Vera. Obrigada, Vera. Thank you, Jinjin. Venerable Jinjin.
Nós vamos fazer a recitação da prece de remoção de obstáculos.
The recitation of the first final.
Faz isso com as sangas todas, né? Fica bonito.
When can have this with all sangas?
We're going to do the recitation of the prayers that we do at the end of the session. So you are very welcome to join us if you wish to be here.
Recording stopped.
Sanje Guru Rinpo Chenya Drup Konda Dewa Chempoza Barche Consado Dundrapo Za Soa Debso Chinji Chinan Sanwe Barche Shiwa Dan San Palunji Drupa Shinjalo Ome Benzai Guru Pema Sijion Ome Benzai Guru Pema Sijion Ome Benzai Guru Pema Sijion Ken Lum Choson Ring Luche Zalin Sason Chaparpel Guru Choson Awadan Midrau do Som Genlencho. Então, muito obrigada.
Thank you very much.
Que nos brindou com
Honorable
essa transmissão maravilhosa da energia
because all
do
this
Mestre.
transmission and the energy of the Master
E a
and the
Vera,
Venerable
com
Jing
alegria desse
and
tempo que a
Vera,
gente
with
pôde
this
de algum modo
energy in
trabalhar
this
juntos
temple
e
that we
produzir
could work
esse
together
resultado
and produce
que
this
a gente espera que se espalhe em
result
muitas
that we believe
direções
and
e possa trazer benefício
expectation
para muitos
to
seres.
go to different directions and could bring benefits to many
Obrigado, pessoal.
people. Thank you.
A gente não sabe há quantas vidas nós estamos praticando juntos.
I'm not sure how many lives we have been practicing together.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Obrigado, Sara. Traduzir pro italiano agora.
Now you have to practice to Italian.
Então, tá bom. Eu acho que a gente vai agora, encerrando essa parte, a gente vai fazer agora o refúgio e as bênçãos. E aí depois as bandeiras. Aqui é um lugar sério, o pessoal precisa almoçar. E depois ir embora. Né? Sim. Então, um abraço aí, pessoal. Eu acho que vai ficar aberto, né? A gente faz o refúgio. Então tá, eu vou fechar aqui por enquanto. Queria agradecer para a Carol. Obrigado, Carol. Você foi ótima. Deu tudo certo.
Lama.
É muito fácil fazer as coisas. A Carol faz tudo, depois a gente só aparece. Aqui fica fácil.
De jeito, tem a Ellen e a Rafa aí. Fazendo tudo, na verdade.
Maravilhoso. Resolvesse tudo lá, conversasse com elas e acertasse tudo. Além do mais, fizesse toda a tradução. Né?
Tem o Pedro e a Cris fazendo a tradução aqui.
E ainda articulasse todos os contatos, todos os contratos e todas as linhas difíceis e todas as complicações que não foram fáceis, porque tinham muitos detalhes, né? E os detalhes continuam, né? porque ainda tem que mandar os livros, tem que resolver as coisas todas ainda. Assim. Mas foi um resultado maravilhoso, né? Porque a publicação ficou muito boa, né? Assim, isso está certo que em parte responsabilidade da Carol, mas o Gui fez essa diagramação toda e ajudou na tradução também. Não, aquelas partes que deu engano foi o Gui. Aquelas palavras duplas ali foi o Gui, assim, no caso. E aí o Gui ainda resolveu a coisa da gráfica, foi assim. Aquilo foi difícil. Tu abrir um livro e o livro ser confortável não é uma coisa fácil. E esse livro está confortável, está com papel bom, está todo direito, ficou cheiroso, pesado, bom de segurar, ficou muito bom. Com uma contracapa boa, com as imagens todas direitas assim. O sutra é uma estupa e já está a estupa ali na capa, né? Aquilo ficou bom assim, ficou muito bom. Me deu muito trabalho. O que menos trabalhou fui eu, que só passei pelas palavras que tinham sido traduzidas, assim, foi muito fácil. Então, um abraço, pessoal. Seguimos juntos aí. Sangha unida jamais será. Essa parte não foi muito boa para terminar, não foi? Vamos trocar. Ho! Agora sim é melhor. Ho é melhor. Obrigado, Pedro. Um abraço aí. Um beijo, Ramiki. Tudo de bom. Ó, a Dê tá lá com o livro. Então tá bom. A Miki tá lá também, agora estou vendo aqui. Tá bom. Beijo, pessoal. Eu vou desligar esse meu canal aqui, vai ficar só aquele lá. Tá? Um beijo para todo mundo aí. Alegria. A gente pensou em saber tudo sobre mantra.